This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
Hi, pretty babies.
I didn't really know what to expect out of that.
Little Wieners Unite.
So it's going to be a bit of a, I guess special. Is special the word to use? Different?
I think special's the right way to go with this.
It's going to be a bit of a special show. Kind of funny the timing of it, because we brought our first guest in, maybe a month ago now? We've been doing this podcast for, if you include our large break, well over a year. I mean, it was a pretty large break. But we've done 30 plus episodes, and we're going to be bringing in our second guest today. My guess is just about, I don't want to say anybody who listens to it, but a very large portion of our audience is familiar. Jim Costa is going to join us. I have watched Stroz, I don't know, maybe 6 outs of baseball for the Tigers this year. I've watched lots of Astros, but I've watched very little Tigers, and I know he's all in on the Tigers. So I want him to sell me on why I should be watching the Tigers. Stroz, you've been watching a little bit, right?
I've been watching quite a bit of the Tigers, yeah.
Okay. So you're kind of on his team then. It's going to be.
I've seen his tweets and I followed along with the show for a little bit now since baseball has come back, and I'm probably way more on his team than you are.
I'm not telling him he's wrong at all. I just want him to convince me, because right now I'm having a hard time finding incentive to watch 2 baseball teams. So we're going to see if he can convince me. Also, Stroz, it's only been like a month and a half since we did a topic similar to this. But you went and spent $2,000 on something entirely unnecessary. So we're going to debate who had the better purchase this last weekend, because I bought something you could argue was unnecessary as well. I only spent $1,940 less than you.
Well, when you put it like that.
But who had the better purchase? It might be a weird format today. We're kind of just going to see how things go. Because that's the way we roll here. Stroz, I'm Mr. Organized, and with you, I kind of just let things go where they may. So there's a possibility we don't get to the better purchase until the third segment, but stick with us. We're going to have some fun with that for sure. But first, we were planning the show yesterday, Stroz. You gave me quite the take. What would you like to share?
See, I knew you were going to love it when I watched my very first hockey game. I was like, I've got some stuff for this show.
Just drop it right there. When I watch my very first hockey game, you already know it's a bad take, but go on.
Look, I was thinking the same thing when I watched basketball. What was it? Last week was opening night for basketball. So I thought it last week when we had our first basketball game. I think sports with no fans has been incredible. I think that the NBA and I think that the NHL are the 2 leagues that have absolutely nailed this. Absolutely crushed it. I think Major League Baseball, it's been okay. I don't like the cardboard cutouts.
What is the NHL doing?
So the NHL has basically tarped off. So they're playing in 2 bubble cities. So it's in Toronto and it's at Edmonton.
What are they doing that makes? Because here's the thing. I'm not denying the NBA has done well. Mm-hmm. I agree with you there. I think the NBA has done a very good job of working within their situation, and because of it, I can live with it. But what is the NBA has these giant screens along the outside where they have, sometimes it's virtual fans. It might be a graphic. There's other stuff going on those screens. It doesn't look like the fans you're used to seeing, but it's also not just empty space, because that's what the MLB is. The best case scenario in the MLB, let me step that back. Maybe not best, depends person to person, but the most you will see done in the MLB is either virtual fans on some broadcasts or on way more broadcasts, cardboard cutouts. Relatively small differences compared to what the NBA has done. What has the NHL done? Just tarps?
So they've tarped everything off, and what they have is they have these large digital billboards.
Similar to the NBA?
Yes, very similar to the NBA. So you get different graphics. So when they're skating around, the general shot of what's going on, it's all action. It's very little stands. But when they score, or in the case of Carolina versus New York, when Carolina beat New York and swept them out of their series, they end up drawing back, and you've got these gigantic Carolina wins, just these digital backboards and these digital billboards that show different images. And I think the way it looks, it comes across very nice. I think they've done a great job making everything as neutral as possible, but at the same time, if you score or if you end up winning a game, it has a very home ice advantage feel to it. And I just think it looks very appealing. I think it looks physically appealing to the eye. I think it's the same thing with the NBA. I think what the NBA does or has done so well is the games feel very intimate. You know, they feel almost like a scrimmage because of the way they kind of look, but it still feels like you're getting invited in to that scrimmage. It feels like it's more intimate than what you would normally get with a regular basketball game. And I think that's what I like about both of these sports, just kind of crushing it.
So here's my problem with what you've done so far in this podcast is I don't disagree with any of this, Stroz. Like, I think the NBA has done a really good job. What you're describing in the NHL sounds like a really good job. And I thought before we even got into these broadcasts that there's a pretty good chance that these leagues could find things, or these broadcast teams more so, could find things that they're going to want to incorporate into broadcast even when we have fans back. There could be things like what you mentioned, Carolina wins banners. It seems like production value that hasn't been added into games. We could learn some good things to do. I'm not arguing that. I have no disagreement with that. That's not what you said to me yesterday. I don't think
I said I love it with no fans.
But that's the important take. I love it with no fans because I'll watch the NBA and I give them a lot of credit for what they've done. I think the NBA has done a good job adapting to what they've been handed, but I would still at this time much rather have fans. Maybe the NBA can push it another level. You talk about the intimacy of it. I get what you're talking about. It feels like a scrimmage. I don't feel like I'm being pushed into the scrimmage at all. I feel like I'm watching. It feels like now the play on the court in the NBA has been great, but I guess it wouldn't be intimacy. It would be I'm trying to think of the way to put it because I've talked about this in baseball.
Is it kind of like a novelty?
The importance of the moment just doesn't feel as like it. I don't feel the tension that you feel with a fan base there. Like early on, and baseball, we agree, has done the least to improve their viewing product, right?
Absolutely.
Early on, watching the Astros, there's like a 3-2 moment late in the game, 3-2 count late in the game, bases loaded, and there's just no way to replicate the tension that fans bring. The NBA can't do it. The NHL, I don't want to say can't. The NBA has not done it yet. I refuse to believe the NHL has done it yet. There are production values that have been added that I think we'll probably see down the road, but like, do you not feel that missing when you're watching sports?
I get what you're saying. I miss it more with baseball. I don't really miss it with hockey because right now with hockey, it's so everybody's playing has that playoff mindset. So it does kind of feel like everything's kind of edge of your seat all the time with hockey. With basketball, I don't know. I took in that Clippers-Lakers game last Thursday and I felt really invested in that game. And I don't care about either one of those teams. I hate LeBron. I do like Kawhi, but I could give two craps about any team in LA. And I felt really invested in that game. And I get what you're saying about the fans being there. I'll take this a step further for you though, because I don't think I'm making my point strong enough for you. And it's very rare that we ever have a show where I'm not coming across strong enough for you. So I wouldn't mind if this is how it was going further or going after everything happens with COVID.
To having fans.
I enjoy this. I find this, maybe it's the novelty of it all, but I enjoy what I'm watching now more than what I had post COVID-19 and post world shutting down and sports taking a break. I'm enjoying what I'm seeing from the NBA and from the NHL. I think what you get with the MLB is kind of hit or miss. So I'm really curious what football is going to end up doing.
I don't think they're gonna. I think that the NBA and NHL lend themselves to it more, being a much smaller area. Mm-hmm. Like you talk about intimate, it's already there, but there's also like you in hockey, you already have the boards, right? Those aren't new; those exist. Right. In the NBA, a court's really not that large. All you've done is surround that court. In all reality, basketball doesn't need a lot of space to be played. Like go to your park and see how little space it takes up. So building something around that's not difficult. In the NFL and in the MLB as well, there's just so much more space. I'm not saying like I think both leagues can go further than the MLB has currently, but I don't think either is going to be able to do as much as the NBA and the NHL. It sucks that I haven't watched the NHL too. Production value, is that the word you'd use to describe what you like about what the NHL's done? Because it's what it sounds like to me.
So I wouldn't put it solely on production value. I think the production value is what kind of lends itself to what I like most about it. But I do feel like being handed lemons and then serving me a nice glass of refreshing lemonade is what I've gotten here with both the NBA and the NHL.
No, but that's weak because I'm not disagreeing with that. But like, it's like saying, here's what I'm saying, Stroz, is you had lime juice and then you handed the NHL lemons and they gave you lemon juice. That doesn't make lemon juice better than lemonade better than your lime juice. It doesn't.
Look, so after tonight's show, right? I'm assuming you have access to NBC. You have an NBC affiliate out there. You have NBCSN.
You think
possibly.
I'm paying for cable?
I have no idea what you're paying
for. Could I find an illegal stream? Yes, probably.
Okay. I need you to watch 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes and tweet your reaction.
You have me curious.
Because I think it is so much better than what we've had before. And it does look a little bit weird with the tarped off stands.
I guess that
looks a little bit strange, but
because you say you would be fine without fans.
Yeah.
Is the NHL doing anything currently that they can't do when fans come back?
I think where the billboards, the digital billboards are placed, they wouldn't be able to do
Why?
that.
Why can't you put a digital billboard over a fan?
Because a lot of them are the long vertical ones, and they're in spots where seats would normally be. So it's more of a configuration with your
Are there actual physical billboards or are they digital? Because if they're digital, I refuse to believe that in 2020, major TV networks don't have the ability to put a billboard over a fan.
Put it, overlay it over the,
why the hell not?
It could be that. I mean, I think that they're actual, digital, large televisions is what they look like to me.
Okay. Cause that's what the NBA is doing. I didn't hear, that's not necessarily how I saw it in my head when you described it. And
the other day when I was watching the Tigers game and they had a Ballpark Franks logo on the pitching mound, right? So they just overlay that over the pitching mound. No, these I believe are large television type devices.
So much like what the NBA has done.
Right.
That's interesting. I mean, I don't know, man. I think they've done better. And I think the playoffs, the NHL, forgive me for not knowing, I'm not even in Detroit now. They really don't care about hockey here. And the Wings aren't in it. The NHL, I know the whole thing is a playoff, everyone who got in is a playoff, but currently they're not in your standard playoffs yet, right? They don't have 7-game series yet.
Right, no. So this is a best of 3. So what they've done is they've taken, 16, so 8 teams so 7 teams didn't make it. So they took 24 teams, basically your top 8 teams, so your top 4 teams in each division get first round buys. And then what you have is you have 8 other teams playing, basically they're playing in to that next round.
Answer me this, is the return of play and we're in the playoffs, but not full series, don't you think that has a little bit to do with what you're getting right now? Cause I do in the NBA. We had another topic we considered planning. I think we'll probably do it next week about the NBA's little seeding games. But don't you think it's the level of play to some extent that's got you so into it?
I think part of it that has me into it is the fact that we haven't had it for so damn long. I mean, it's August and we're getting to watch hockey.
I'm not telling you sports aren't fun right now. I struggle, and let us know at Brendan Riley _ at Adam R. Stroz. What I'm really curious about, cause for me, the only thing that's missing is the tension. And the other word I was looking for so hard earlier is urgency. It feels like it just doesn't feel without the crowd, moments are as big as they are. And I know they are. I can tell, but the fan noise, I think, does so much. I guess what I'm saying, it's not all that different. Music can change your moods, right? Mm-hmm. I think sound plays a role in the mood of the moment. Mm-hmm. And that goes for both noise and quiet. But when everything is quiet, it just doesn't work the same.
So this is something that I really enjoy with what we're getting with sports right now, is you don't have that background noise, so you get to hear the players chirping each other. You get to hear the stuff coming from the bench. It's like another layer of the game that normally you don't get. So I feel like it almost submerges you and forces you to really be inside the boards. And that's something that I enjoy. I want to know what the players are saying to each other. If Brad Marchand's out there and he's chirping a guy, I want to hear what he's saying, and I want to hear what the guy is saying back to him. I want to see them dust it up. I want to hear the referee saying, break it up, come on, guys. I want to hear all that.
Yeah,
I want to be a part of that.
That just doesn't do anything for me, at all.
So you need the music, you need the stands rocking, you need fans in the stands screaming and hooting and hollering.
No, that's what I said. sometimes quiet speaks volumes too. Like, I think that this sounds so weird to say, but you almost lose the pageantry of sports when you don't have the fans. It's not like, we talk about some moments in sports being like a movie, right? Like, for some reason I find myself thinking of the Raptors, Warriors series, and this is a Raptors franchise that, you know, hasn't had success in the NBA. They certainly weren't expecting to win a championship. They trade for a rental player. We don't see rental players lead teams to championships. Like, there's this whole storyline there, and you almost lose that storyline when all it is like a pickup game of basketball where I get to hear them talk to each other. Like, I think you lose, like, a good movie often has a good soundtrack, right? Mm-hmm. Or a good score. I think that the fan base is kind of that in sports, and we don't have that here. And I'm not even telling you you're wrong. I just can't, which is something I do a lot on opinion topics. But I hear you, and I can't relate to that at all.
So I think I might miss that more when it comes time for the championship game, right? So it could be the Stanley Cup.
I'm almost like doing that ahead of time, because I find myself thinking, man, the deeper we get, it's gonna be tough when you're in late series, like Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals, Clippers-Lakers, and there's nobody there to appreciate how dramatic this is.
Right. I think for moments like that, I might miss it. But for right now, with what I've got and what I've watched, I'm loving it. So I think maybe we could check back in later on when we get closer to the Stanley Cup Finals and we get closer to the NBA Finals. But for right now, with what I have, I'm loving it. And I think there is a bit of urgency there because, again, so with baseball.
But there's urgency because of the moment, not within the game.
Well, I think there's urgency because of how everything is situated. I mean, baseball, every week that goes by, you basically play 10% of your season.
I'm not denying like the importance of the game, but I'm saying you don't feel it in the game. Like, we both know that it's important, but knowing something and feeling something are not the same.
I need you to watch one of these hockey games, man, because when it's a 2-1 lead and you're in the third period. The other night there was an overtime between. Oh damn! I don't even remember the team. I think it was the Montreal. Was it Montreal Pittsburgh? I think is the series I was watching. And it ended up going into overtime. And Jeff Petrie, Orchard Lake, St. Mary's own, ended up scoring the game winner. But leading up to that, there was a penalty shot moment, and I was so geared up for it because it could have won the game. You know, and like, I don't know, man. I feel like I'm sitting on the edge of my seat watching these hockey games. And I feel like I'm really invested in these basketball games. And usually with basketball, this is how I know that I'm really into it. With basketball, I usually don't get invested until we get to that second round of the playoffs. And then I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to start to pay a lot more attention here. Whereas I'm usually a casual basketball fan. Whereas now, these games they kind of matter, but they don't necessarily matter for the playoffs yet. And I'm like, okay, cool. What's going on here? Like I said, the other night, I stayed up, I watched the entire Clippers-Lakers game, and I was glued. I was like, I need to go to bed. But I was like, no, it's cool. We got like 7 more minutes left. And I was like, I really need to go to sleep. No, we got 3 more minutes left. And I was there, man. I took the whole thing in. I even stayed out after and watched LeBron's little press conference out at midcourt. It was great. I loved it all.
All right, we've gone quite long here. Just for our convenience, I think we're probably going to go to Jim next, and he's going to sell me on why I need to be watching the Tigers. And then coming up after that, we'll probably ask him as well, who had the better purchase weekend? My $60 canvas picture or Stroz's $2,000 golf clubs as a man who doesn't even golf that much? So that's going to be coming up in a second. I don't really know how we're going to cut this, Stroz, but Jim should be ready probably in the next 5 to 10 minutes, so.
You know, when you put it like that, you make me sound like a nitwit. So that's great. This is why I love this show.
All right. I've been too busy watching Astros games, so I haven't watched the Tigers more than, like I told you, Stroz, maybe 5 or 6 outs. And one of our favorite people who I know has been telling everybody that this is the year to watch the Tigers is joining us, Jim Costa from Big Drew and Jim. Jim, what's going on?
Hey guys, how are you? It's been way too long.
Yeah, I was telling Stroz, we had our first guest like a month ago, and then we followed it up with our second guest now, but we've obviously talked about it, Jim, but I really want to get myself to watch the Tigers, but there have been too many games with, like, between the Astros and Tigers. I can't find myself watching 2 baseball games at once. I need you to convince me it's worth it.
Well, how about this? They're the playoff-bound Detroit Tigers, so a Detroit team that plays in games that actually mean something. How about that for a starting spot? And no, they've paid their dues. They've been awful now for 3 or 4 seasons. Now is when you get the payoff, as some of these younger guys make their debut, as you have a competitive team. I mean, Detroit teams, we don't have the Red Wings playing anymore. The Pistons aren't in the bubble. So what do we have? We have the Detroit Tigers playing competitive, relevant baseball.
Genuine question. When you started watching them this year, how many players did you recognize?
So you got Miguel Cabrera.
Like, I'm sure you know them now.
Yeah, no, that's the point though, is that you heard some of these guys. I'll be honest, I wasn't watching a lot of baseball last year. They were the worst team in the sport. So you kind of have to reacclimate yourself. Oh, I remember Michael Fulmer. Oh, he's coming off a Tommy John surgery. Maybe I don't want to see this Michael Fulmer. But you realize, like, oh, these are some younger players that are going to be in your life for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the roster right now, and I'll admit it's a little bit better than I remember. Not better's the wrong word. I remember more of these guys than I thought I would, but I think that's part of the problem. Like, I watched them in a game. I want to say it was the game they went against Trevor Bauer, and I kept trying to go back to watch late in the game. And in these crucial moments, I'm like, who's this guy? Who's this guy? Hell, CJ Cron is probably the name who I'm seeing the most on Twitter. 1, I don't even know if I'm saying his name right.
You're not.
And 2, I don't know if he's any good, but apparently he's important to the Tigers team.
He's their best power hitter. Come on, bro. Jim, I've been trying to get him on this boat for a minute now. Now, I'm not going as hard as you.
I want to. I do want to. That's why I brought Jim on. Because I need somebody to convince me this team's worth watching already.
Hey, I was going to say, last year, they were the worst home run hitting team in the American League. Worst. They came out of the gates hitting dingers. And Cron's one of those guys. He's the number 4 hitter, Brendan. He hit 50-something over the last 2 years. They added legitimate major league quality batters. I wouldn't tell you to watch them last year. I'm telling you they're worth your time this season.
When did you learn that they were worth our time? When baseball got canceled and you missed sports for a few months?
Yeah, so that's part of it. Let's call it what it is. There's a level of desperation here, and I think people see right through that when I talk about it on the show. There's a level of desperation that's very real. But I think too it was perfect. A 60-game season where half the teams make the playoffs, it's set up for the Tigers to experiment with some young guys and still actually be relevant. Like, when all that came together and sports came back into my life, I was hook, line, and sinker.
So, Jim, did you start to get excited because the Tigers end up opening up against the Cincinnati Reds, who by all accounts are a very good team this year, and they end up taking 2 of 3 because the moment my excitement level really hit that crescendo was when they took 2 of 3 from the Reds. And that was when I got interested. So, like, what was it, that, or was it before? Is it just the fact that we get to see Tiger baseball? I mean, like, what was that moment for you? Like, there had to have been, like, a singular moment, right?
It was probably the second game of the season. They lost the first one, and I joked. Yep. The real win was getting baseball back. But no, the first win of the season came in game number 2, and Miguel Cabrera hit a home run. And I got up from the couch, like, without even thinking about it. I was like, wow, I didn't realize how back I am, but seeing Miggy leave the yard, they go on to win that game. Romine hit a home run. He's a new bat that Brendan probably never heard of.
No, I'm familiar. He was a Yankee.
Yes, he was a Yankee, but that's they added some major league hitters and they came back and won the very second game of the season. Then Stroz, to your point, they take the series on Sunday. It's not a lazy Sunday throwaway like it would have been a year ago. And I was in. Lay it up against the Kansas City Royals, take a couple there. I mean, and that's the thing. I'm not telling people they're going to win 2 out of every 3 games, but 500 will get you in the playoffs, and 500 will make it interesting when some of these guys eventually come up and make their debuts.
Now, I've been very spoiled as a baseball fan. Obviously, getting to watch those great pitching rotations for the Tigers. Then I come here to Houston. Justin Verlander's hurt now, but I got to watch some Justin Verlander, Lance McCullers, Zach Greinke. And last year Garrett Cole. I've gotten to watch very good pitchers often, and I struggle to get up for a game, right? Like, baseball is a little bit slower moving. Unless you really love the sport, it can be tough if you don't get excited for any pitchers. I remember getting excited to watch Michael Fulmer in the past. He's not there right now. Is there anybody you're getting excited to watch?
Again, I'll plug Casey Mize needs to be in this rotation, and that's the answer.
when Casey Mize starts, I will be there, Jim.
But there is one guy that I should mention, and it's Spencer Turnbull. And he led the majors in losses last year, which is clearly a flawed stat. He had no run support. He has legitimate stuff. And on a quality team, he had 8 strikeouts in his first start. He went 6 innings with another 6 of them in his second start. No, he's not Zach Greinke or Justin Verlander. You spoiled Astros fan now? I don't know. They don't have those guys.
Jim, I want you to know, that's the problem, right? Like, I do find myself more interested in Astros games than Tigers games, and I want to be interested in both. I don't want to lose.
Okay, so the Tigers don't have 5 starting pitchers. Don't watch when they're not throwing a starting pitcher.
Yeah, it's basically what I'm asking you. Who do I watch? If I'm committing to one start every 5 days, it's Turnbull.
It's Turnbull right now. And you're hoping Boyd becomes watchable. He's been awful the first 2 starts.
Yeah, but let's flash forward. Boyd's gonna be an Astro, right?
Yeah. Oh, an Astro? Yeah, sure. Who you giving us? We need some more bats over here.
I don't know the farm system. I just know the Astros need a starting pitcher.
Some Astros fans, Stroz.
Oh, I already know. Like, look, we were talking about this last week, and he was like, "Yeah, I think I was like, so are you an Astros fan now?" And he was like, "Yeah, I think I am." I was like, "What? Like, how does that even happen? You're down there for like now a year, and all of a sudden you turn into an Astros fan? How the hell does that happen?"
Started. It didn't look. It's not even intentional. I mean, I wanted to watch the Astros. I'm talking about them. I'm, part of the station covering them 5 days a week. But I didn't expect to have this struggle watching the Tigers. Because, Jim, I'm with you. I think this team could be a playoff team in these expanded playoffs. Honestly, I think the most important question is what pitcher do I need to watch? And you gave it to me. It's Spencer Turnbull. Anybody else that I need to like find it in myself to give them the time to care about?
Yeah, I mean, future AL MVP Jacoby Jones is probably worth like popping in for an AB or 2.
I was excited about Jacoby Jones early on in his career, but then you watch him not do anything for the first few years while this team was awful, and it's just hard to stay invested.
Dude, he's been much better this year. Like, I'm telling you, he's been really, really good. He's been a lot of fun to watch this year.
All right, I got one more question.
CJ Cron as well is another one.
I thought you said I was saying his name wrong.
You are.
I called it Cron.
You said Cron.
Okay, CJ Cron. I got the name down. I won't get it wrong again. I do got one more question for you before we ask you about the purchases we made. I don't know if you saw our tweet out there yesterday. I know that you, from day one, were invested in trying to tell everybody else this is a playoff team. You were excited about it. Honestly, to this point, how's it compared to your expectations?
I'd say they've met my expectations. They're quite literally 5-5. They're a 500 baseball team.
Which you could say is something to be excited about.
Well, yeah, what I would tell you is if you go 30-30, you're in the playoffs. And part of the reason why I was in on this team from the beginning is I looked back at 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, and they were right around the 30 win mark after 60 games. So I said it's doable. It's doable. And thus far, they are quite literally on pace to do the thing I thought. So I'd say they've met expectations.
Jim, would you say this team is fool's gold, or are they the real deal?
So what does that mean? Like, what does the real deal mean?
Are they a team that is going to compete for a playoff spot? Because I don't think any of us have any visions of grandeur of this team actually winning a World Series. And hey, if we get there, great. It could be like 2006 all over again. But I think being a team that is in consideration for the playoffs as the season starts to wind down.
Yeah, so the answer to that question kind of depends on Alavila, because they're running a 3-man rotation right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to be able to run a 3-man rotation for 2 months. I mean, I actually think it was a good thing that the Cardinal series got postponed because it let them reset the rotation, but you're not going to get away with that because there's going to be no off days now. You got to make up those games. You can't roll a 3-man rotation and make the playoffs. Even as excited as I am, that excitement has to come with action from Alavila. They have to give Casey Mize a shot in this rotation. There's no more service time loophole. He's got to be a fixture. And at that point, how do you find that 5th starter? And it could be a combination. You can do the Fulmer experiment or the Norris experiment. I think both should be in the bullpen. But maybe it's Tyler Alexander, who was phenomenal as a long reliever. Maybe he gets a crack. Or it's Matt Manning and Jarek Struble. Like, you have the guys. That's the beauty of it. You say, well, they only have 3 pitchers. How can you believe in them? The answers are staring them in the face. They just got announced as the #1 farm system in all of baseball. Pitching is a big reason. Those guys are on the cusp of coming up. If Alavila is willing to give them a legitimate shot, they'll have a rotation. to go with a bullpen that's been very impressive. We haven't mentioned that. To go with a bullpen that actually shuts the door, yes, that's a playoff team.
I promise you, I will be there for Casey Mize's first start. I don't care who the Astros play that day. If I only get to watch one, it'll be Casey Mize's. There are things that I care about with the Tigers team still. It's just, it is tough when you disappear for a couple years and you don't recognize half the lineup.
Brendan, they have a bullpen that closes games.
Is the bullpen exciting though?
Imagine telling a Tigers fan though, I mean, you talk about someone who's been out of it for a couple of years. Imagine like you wake up from this like frozen cryogenic state and I tell you the Tigers can close games without any stress. Is that not a reason to be interested?
I mean, you gotta go back to having, Phil Koch, and like, he was a dumpster fire when he was on the mound as well. But like, it's been forever. That's the one thing I think that is different about this team than just about every Tigers team that, you probably have lived through, is they actually have a bullpen that can come in and finish games. Because the starting pitching is absolute crap.
I did see that Tyler Alexander outing, and that was something.
That was pretty magical.
3 innings, 9 strikeouts?
Yeah. Mow down the first 9 batters you've seen.
That was pretty exciting. All right, we'll get you out of here on this. We're gonna move away from Tigers. I'll tell you, just to let you know how you did. I think I'm willing to give at least a Turnbull start every week or so a try. That will probably be the extent of my Tigers watching for this season. But look, when it comes down to the playoffs, when my Astros meet your Tigers, then we'll see where I stand.
Jim, look at it. Jim, look at this. I was trying to give this guy my YouTube TV streaming account so he could watch a Tiger game. And then we figured out the whole IP address thing was just going to screw it all up.
Plenty of illegal streams. Did you see our tweet, our poll, our whopping 24 votes on who had the better purchase this weekend?
Man, I barely follow my own show account. No, I didn't see what you guys put up. What is this?
Okay, so Stroz went out this weekend and spent $2,000 on golf clubs. I went out and spent $60 on a 2x3 canvas picture of the Grand Rapids skyline from the Blue Bridge. Very simple question. Who had the better purchase this week?
Stroz, do you golf?
Yes. Not very well, but I do golf.
Okay, yeah, no, Brendan's purchase is better.
Why? 'Cause I don't golf well?
Well, I just don't understand why people golf. They like want to go hate themselves for 3 to 5 hours at a time.
I love golf. You don't like golf at all? I didn't know this about you, Jim.
So, yeah, I don't know if like elitist Jim, you just assume I golf or something, but no, I haven't golfed since I was in middle school, and we do like 9 holes and then dip out. So not for me.
That's actually incredible. I didn't know that either, and if I would have known, I would have assumed I was gonna win. I think it's a no-brainer. Stroz thinks it's tough. We're gonna do that next. Thanks for joining us, Jim.
Hey, no problem, guys. Anytime.
Jim, I appreciate you. Love you. See you, buddy.
Stick to it, Jim. So Jim's on my side. Twitter's on my side, albeit a little closer than I thought it would be.
It is way closer than I thought it was gonna be.
Probably helps the how few votes we got. I think if we got more votes, it would have started to lean in my favor.
We got a 24th vote, and I think it swayed it more towards your side.
But I did see we had one comment from Paul, who of course we had on, maybe a month or so ago. He's on your side.
Mm-hmm.
Look, man, I don't even feel like I gotta argue for my side. I bought a $60 picture, very minimal cost, 2x3 feet. It's gonna be the centerpiece of my home. And here's the thing. I'm a 27-year-old dude. I think I've commented on the podcast when we do this. Like I see you got, I think a Steve Yzerman picture back there.
Yep.
So you got Steve Yzerman picture. I can't tell what's to the left of it. You got another frame picture. You got your Mortal Kombat. You've got stuff in your apartment. All I have, man, is the bare minimum. I have a coffee table, a couch, a chair, a bed, and a dining room table. I don't got anything else as far as I guess decor would literally be the word. It's just a bare ass apartment like your average 27-year-old dude. This is the first thing I bought that's supposed to be I don't know, turn my bare ass apartment into a home. And I'm super excited because Grand Rapids, despite only spending 3 years there for me, is very much what I consider home. Mm-hmm. And 2 feet by 3 feet's a decent size, man. Gonna be the centerpiece of my living room. You, on the other hand, look, man, I think the golf clubs that I had, I don't have any here, but I had some when I lived at my dad's. They might have been worth $150. Garbage heap golf clubs. What are you gaining by spending an extra $1,800?
So I can tell you this much, right? So the golf clubs that I had originally, I did go and I got fitted for them. And the fitting experience was absolutely horrible. I ended up getting sold a set of clubs that really weren't for me. And I could tell the very first time I took them out onto the course and played with them, it was absolutely brutal playing with these golf clubs. And I played with them for the last 5.5 years. I've been saving up now for probably 2 years to buy these golf clubs that I got. And
You were saving up specifically for these golf clubs.
yes.
Can I list all the things I'd rather do with $2,000?
Yeah, go ahead.
I would pay a prostitute $2,000 before I would buy golf clubs. I mean, the first thing I'd probably do is travel.
Wait, would you ever do things to you, or would you ever clean your house? What are we talking about here? Hey, babe, I need you to hang that picture that I just bought for $60. Make my house a home.
Like, the list of things I would buy, like season tickets to, I don't know, the Astros when they come back. I would travel for sure. I would literally put it away for when my car with 200,000 plus miles inevitably needs something fixed. I would buy, I just bought a TV, Stroz. I would buy a third new, nicer TV before I spend $2,000 on golf clubs. And look, I don't golf often, but even if I did, man, like, I can't imagine spending that much money on equipment for a sport I suck at.
Yeah, and I'm really bad. That's the thing. I'm really, really bad. So, to start the season, right, I went golfing probably, maybe 6 weeks ago, and it was my first time golfing in probably 2 years because last year was a complete nightmare back and forth between, here in Indiana, so I didn't get a lot of time to hit the links with my guys. But I went out like I said, 6 weeks ago. I ended up shooting a 122. So for those of you who don't know, par is 70 or 72. So it should only take me 72 shots to get through the entire course, according to what they say.
Yeah, if you're any good.
If you're a bogey golfer, add 18. If you're a double bogey golfer, which I would love to be, add 36. I ended up shooting, I shot 122 and par is 70. I shot 50 strokes over. So I am what we call a dumpster fire. I'm a trash heap. The next time I went out and golfed, I shot a 115. Alright, so I got a little bit better, but not much. This is what I can tell you. I'm gonna go golf this Sunday. So I will tweet what happens on the front 9 and I will tweet what happens after 18 and I'll let you know if it's any better. I did go golf the other day after I purchased these. I went to a little par 3 and I played. And what I can tell you is I hit these clubs straighter, I hit these clubs longer, and they put the ball in the general vicinity of where I want the ball to go, which is some control issues that I never had before with my golf clubs. So I think paying the extra money for these particular clubs that I got was a good investment because, one, I'm not going to lose as many balls. Two, it's going to make my time on the course more enjoyable. So my sister works at Indianwood, and every now and then she'll slip me in the back door to that private country club and I'll go golf there. And it's one of the toughest courses I've ever played. And I was beating my buddy. We got to hole 12. My buddy's really good. I'm not good at all. Indianwood's a very difficult course. I was beating him. On hole 12, I end up just hitting an absolute crap shot, walk up to my ball, pull out my 7-iron, hit it again. I hit it thin. I'm in this stuff called heather. It's like this long, stringy, whatever. It's a mess. I find my ball, miraculously, because once it goes in there, you can't find it. I find it. I hit it fat. So now I'm trying to take a breath. I put my club behind my neck, and I just try to breathe and calm down, because now I'm getting agitated because I can feel the game slipping away from me.
I can see that. I feel like you would be a rough golfer for that reason.
Yes. So taking a deep breath and just trying to relax everything, I end up snapping my 7-iron in half. So I lose a 7-iron. I go grab my 8, okay? And I hit it fat, and then I hit it thin, and I eventually get out. But I'm so pissed off at this moment in time, I go and I smash my 8-iron across the golf cart. So now I'm down to 7 and an 8-iron. I definitely needed a new set of irons. I hated my driver the moment I got it. I got a brand new driver. I wanted a 4-iron, because I like playing irons. The guy ended up selling me a 4 hybrid. I hit that hybrid so well during the testing, or during the fitting. It was fantastic. I was like, put it in the bag. Let's go.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know that I saw getting so lost in this conversation. I'm the kind of golfer who would break my 7-iron and use an 8-iron for the rest of my life.
The big issue came when I was like, hey, can we go look at putters? So I ended up buying an even roll putter, which is a $450 putter. And that was the problem. I should not have bought that. I should have spent $250 on an Odyssey Instead, I spent $450 on an even roll putter. So I outfitted my entire bag from driver to putter for $2,000. I got the clubs I wanted. I think it was a great investment for myself. Look, I don't have to buy another putter for probably another 10 years as long as I treat it right. I probably don't have to buy another driver.
No, see, Stroz, I don't think you have to buy a putter for 10 years even if you treat it wrong. It'll continue to suck, but so do you, so that's totally fine.
Hey, I'm working on my game. I'm
gonna be honest, I'm not even trying to tell you like you paid too much because like I don't know what they cost. I just can't. I was texting a good friend of mine. I know through Jim actually. He'll appreciate hearing that Jim doesn't like golf at all. But asking him what he spends, and he said $2,000 is very easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you were paying a ridiculous price. I just can't and understand how broke I am. But like I can't understand the concept of spending $2,000 on something, entertainment wise, and then still having to pay to play. That's not like $2,000 doesn't mean you get to golf for the rest of your life for free.
No.
Golfing is not a cheap sport, even when you like just getting to the course, right?
You gotta pay your greens fees for sure.
So,
but here's the thing, right? So this is what really pissed me off about this purchase. So I was trying to go through my sister, because again, she works at Indianwood. She's got the inside track to the guy who runs the pro shop. And I beat her up for probably 3 months on getting me a deal on some golf equipment. And she's like, yeah, I can get it for you at cost. I said, fantastic. Let me know what that's going to cost me. I messaged her the day that I went for my fitting. I said, hey, I'm going for my fitting. It's at 2. Let me know if you get any movement on what these are going to cost me. I ended up texting her at like 11 in the morning. 1:41, she texts me. He's going to get me prices. I said, okay, great. My fitting's at 2. I need you to let me know. I'll probably be there for about 2 hours. I was there for about 3. She ends up coming back after I have cashed out, and he's already taken all the stickers off of all of my clubs. She's like, hey, he can get you everything you want for about $1,400. I was like, bitch! Like, where were you like, I don't know, 45 minutes ago?
Cost you $600.
Yep. Sucked. But
man, I don't
it's okay, man. Here's the thing. I'll tell you this much. I got the clubs that I want, and I got the clubs that I think are just right for me. And again, I'll let you know on Saturday when I get done with the front 9, and then when I complete the back 9, we'll see what my score looks like. We'll see how I've done.
I guess my concern is like there's no score. Like if I could golf a 50 on a 72, it wouldn't be worth the $2,000.
Oh my god, if I could do that.
I'm kidding, because obviously then you're talking like you might be able to make money off of playing.
Here's the deal.
But
this is how low the bar is set. So par is generally 72. I just want to break 100 this year before the season's over. That's all I want. I just want to break 100. That's it.
Well, good luck with that. I do want to ask you one question before we wrap up, because I was thinking about this. Like I
also have the Twitter poll as well.
What was that?
I also have the Twitter poll as well. The results.
Okay. I don't always feel our age when we do this. Like I don't feel we're as far apart as we are. It's rare. The only times it seems like we're different in age is when we talk about like the players we grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
And my guess is it doesn't come through the difference in our age. You have decorations. I even see some hockey pucks. I don't know where you record, but in your house. At 27 years old, did you have any of that stuff?
Yes.
Okay, so you cared about that stuff from day one.
Mm-hmm.
And you still think yours is better.
My
value, consider the price and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like I spent $60 and the improvement I get on my life for that $60. You spent $2,000 and the improvement you get in your life, you think you got more improvement for the dollar.
Yes.
And you golf all often.
I see what you did there too. I see how you work this. Yes, that was fantastic on your part. But
I thought it was like the way to do it. Like you have to consider price.
Yeah,
I think
for
my
sure.
life per dollar improved significantly more than yours.
So I think for where you're at and for what you were looking to do and what you're looking to do going forward with your life, I think what you got is fantastic. I think it's fantastic for you. I think for me, like I enjoy nothing more than going out and playing 18 holes with my buddies. All right? Like there was one thing I really missed last year in my transition back and forth between Indiana and Detroit. So I think this is going to help me enjoy my time much, much more because it'll help alleviate. There's still going to be frustration because golf is incredibly difficult, but it's going to help alleviate a layer of that frustration, and it won't be as embarrassing for me when I'm out there. Now, I will tell you this.
It feels a little bit like the guy who pays on the pay to win phone apps, so he doesn't get as pissed off by them.
Right. So I'll tell you this much: the pictures that you see behind me, and I have this weird little cutout in my living room, and that is technically my office area. So I have a desk built into this cutout, and what you see behind me are my 2 windows that look out onto the pool area.
With no blinds.
With no blinds. I got my blinds in. My blinds are right over here by the wall.
Look at you.
But I'm waiting for Home Depot to come and install those.
You're not gonna put them up yourself?
No, I'm gonna have them install them. Get the hell out of here.
Come on.
So I'm gonna have them. I thought about it, and at this point I probably should because they've been sitting here for about a week now. But anyways, the pictures you see behind me, I bought the one picture. The one picture of Steve Yzerman lifting the Stanley Cup in I think 1997. I was drunk at a golf outing and I spent $250 on that one.
You told that story.
Yeah. The other picture I have in the over my bar area is an autographed Henrik Zetterberg jersey. That same night I bought that jersey for $400. So again, I was hammered.
You are the king of way overspending on unnecessary stuff. My picture, Stroz, is on canvas and it's 2 feet by 3 feet.
It's a beautiful picture too.
What was that?
It's a beautiful picture.
Yeah, you basically have a framed picture, which is still nice, but $400 on one of them.
$400 later, yeah. And then the other one is, so like when Steve Yzerman retired, he ended up getting there was like a commemorative cover of Sports Illustrated. My mom got that for me, got it framed, so that's hanging up, and then I got Steve Yzerman's last steps as he's walking off of Rexall Place in Edmonton. So it's like that's like my Steve Yzerman corner right there. So side note, funny story, because I can't be we can't do a podcast without me being a total degenerate. The night that I spent a bunch of money on that Steve Yzerman picture and that Henrik Zetterberg picture, that night I was at a golf outing. That day I was at a golf outing. Got hammered during the day, went to the dinner, got hammered even more. I ended up pulling my wiener out in the middle of this restaurant to show this girl. And like, my wiener is nothing special. It is like little guy status all day.
Okay, I don't really want to get into this, but super important question.
Yeah.
And I really, really hope you answer it correctly.
Yeah.
Did she want to see it?
Yeah, she asked to.
Okay. Then I'm okay.
I don't know why, but
no,
I showed
I'm okay.
it to her.
You know what, Stroz? We don't need to dive any deeper into it. I'm really thankful that you said yes to that. That was the most important question, and we can leave it at that. That's how we're going to wrap up the podcast. If you have any comments on any of it, except for that last part right there, at Brendan Riley _ at Adam R. Stroz.